You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the fourth and final part. We haven't done a long show for a while, so this is the long show. The fourth and final part of the IPL 2024 auction preview. Sunrisers, Max. Let's get there. Let's do some sunrising.
Yep. Okay. Two big bits of news for Sunrisers. Number one, they released Harry Brook, so that's freed up 13.5 crore for them. Number two, they got rid of most of their spin, and they also got rid of Kartik Tyagi, which is a little bit surprising. But the two things that they need to target, well, the main thing they need to target is high quality spin. I should have also mentioned that they made the trade of Mayank Dagger for Shahbaz Ahmed. It's not the world's most exciting trade you're ever going to see. They've got rid of an okay finger spinner and brought in an okay finger spinner who can bat a little bit, but not fast enough for a T20. So I don't know really where that leaves them. The other things they might want to target could be a middle order batter to replace Harry Brook, but they have Glenn Phillips. They've got Markram and Klaassen, who are always going to play. So there's no point getting overseas there because they're just not going to play, and it just ruins the balance of the side. And there isn't really a lot in terms of the Indian local market that they can go for. Maybe Shahrukh Khan could be an option for them if they want to add a bit of depth there. But actually, a lot of the guys in the top sort of 10 run scorers of the SMAT are in their squad. Anilpreet Singh, Upendra Yadav, both had really good SMATs, and Abhishek Sharma also had a really good SMAT. So maybe they can just promote from within. What they really need to do is go and get Hasaranga and rub RCB's face in it. That's SRH's auction in a nutshell. They've got loads of money, 34 crore to spend on 6 places and 3 overseas, same as CSK. So they can also really annoy some people by driving up the price of some pace bowlers, which might allow them to get some good value at the end for some depth. And that is if they know what they're doing. But this is SRH we're talking about.
They picked up Steve Smith in the first batches of their
that's 12 crore. No one else built him, but they just said, we'll give him 12 crore anyway.
Travis Head.
Travis Head, yeah.
Hasaranga is definitely like, they should just go in, get him. Like, surely that is the play.
My notes have him as their number one target if they've got, a coherent auction strategy.
And they can spend what they like on him as well.
Well, they've got the highest average crore per slot required in the whole auction. They can dictate terms. And actually, we're gonna find out a lot after set 2 in the auction, because there are 7 players who I think potentially could pick up interest. You got they've called it capped all rounders 1, but that is a bit tenuous in some circumstances about all rounders. They're clearly trying to sort of fit in players in this bracket. We've got Gerald Kirksey, we've got Pat Cummins, we've got Wanendu Hasaranga, we've got Daryl Mitchell, we've got Harshal Patel, who somehow qualifies as an all-rounder, Rachin Ravindra, and the Lord Shardul Thakur. We're going to find out a lot after that in terms of who's got budget left. If SRH play the first couple of sets coherently and logically, they could do really well at this auction. I think they've got a chance of.
They could turn them into title challengers. This is how close it is. They cannot go into an auction in a better position than they are right now. Right? They literally 6 good decisions. That's all they need to make.
Yeah,
and in fact, they need to make 2 good decisions, and then they're fine. If they get the first 2 decisions wrong, which is not beyond the idiots that run it, then I'd feel sorry for Sudeep, our dearest patrons, who is a big Sunrisers fan. But what an opportunity for Sunrisers!
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think we did a very similar show last year where we talked about what a good position they were in, and
there's yin and yang, right? For what goes up must come down. With CSK, you look at how many games you should win and double it. For SRH, you look at how many games they should win and you take away the number of games you think they're going to win. That's how it works.
But they do need domestic paces, I think. I think that's where I think with Bhuvi Kumar and Natarajan are just not reliable enough in terms of the fitness department. And I think that they're going to have enough money left over from the Hasaranga buy to bolster that area. And if 1 or 2 of them can bat, then definitely in with a shout.
It actually goes in a nice order for them, I think, this auction as well. Like, they don't, as we were saying, they don't really need to play the batting part that hard, but some other franchises do. Then they've got all-rounders in pot 2 where they need to go ballistic on Hasaranga. Don't really need to play wicket keepers where other franchises do, and then they get to the seam bowlers. So you might be in a position at that point where there aren't really that many teams with loads of loot left to throw at, you know, a backup domestic player.
You can just buy Harry Brook on the other way around when he comes back in the rapid auction.
So I am interested to see how they blow it, because it is set up.
One, yeah.
Yeah, right. Let's move on. I'm going to run through the Punjab Kings, second last team. Key releases. We've mentioned Shahrukh Khan a couple of times. He was on quite a lot of money at Punjab, so it doesn't necessarily not make sense that they released him. But he wasn't utter balls last year either. Actually batted pretty well. Other name that departs is Rajapaksa, who's a little bit of a cult hero, I thought, for Punjab. Had a few innings, mainly deputising for Liam Livingstone and or Bairstow over the last couple of years, but did pretty well in that role. No trades, so that leaves them with a 29 crore purse to fill 8 spots with 2 overseas, which is a fairly healthy position to be in. Now, when it comes to what they're missing, it's a little bit of a complicated one. So I've got my 2 notes here, quite a lot, but also not very much. Then I've to try and figure
class analysis as always.
To try and figure this out, I put down a list of players, and they've got a pretty good, at least a good 9: Darwan, Bairstow, Jitesh Sharma, perhaps Simran, Livingston, Curran, Arshdeep, and Chahar, and then one of Rabada or Ellis will play, and that's you're in a nice position here. So what do I mean by they're missing quite a lot? I think here they may be lacking when it comes to consistency, if that makes sense. And I mean this in terms of the performance of the players. I mean, like Sam Curran can oscillate from genius to worst bowler in the world from game to game. Liam Livingstone has got some injury issues. Johnny Bairstow's still probably not really recovered from his broken leg, is he? So we don't know with a few of these guys, and the 3 English ones there, exactly what might come out. Rahul Chahar, you could maybe throw him into the mix as well. Like, wouldn't be stunned if he was a top wicket taker. Also wouldn't be stunned if he went for 9 and over and never played in the IPL again. Like, it's a fair range of outcomes. All this in mind, what do I think they'll end up going in for? I've got Lord Shardul Thakur down as somebody I think they might.
It's in so much demand.
Yes,
He's the first name on my list.
Yeah, and I think as a backup to that, Harshal Patel. I mean, they could probably do with one guy who could bat 8 and bowl a little bit. They've got a lot of flexibility with bowlers at the top of the order. You don't necessarily need a banker bowler at number 8 in this team, but you might want to extend your batting order. So that's what I'm thinking. They've got a fair amount of money. I don't know what they'll be thinking internally. You never really know with Punjab. They're like a chop and change. But that's where I'm going to go. Dan, you've got intimate knowledge of the Punjab Kings. If you were at the laptop for them this year, Shardul Thakur, I've said, you said you agreed. Is that because you think he's the best fit for the team, or do you just think that's a Punjab move?
I just think that's what they'll do. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you could actually argue they probably do need a little bit more batting depth, especially if they're going to carry on going quite high intent. I definitely think that they need another domestic batter. But the problem is that unless they go for like an intent merchant, like someone like a Ramandeep Singh, who's from Punjab domestically as well, which is very, very possible. What I don't want to do is to go down that sort of Karan Nair, Manish Pandey, KS Bharat kind of route, and they don't need a player like that. Where they've got Shikhar Dhawan already, so a bit more batting depth. I think Hasaranga is another good fit for them, actually, and. If I was still there, I would literally be on the phone non-stop to Gujarat and hope that they screw up a trade again and let us have Saika Shaw for cheap money. I really rate him. I think that it's a real shame that he's not playing regularly in the IPL. So yeah, a domestic frontline bowler who could hit I've got as a note as well, but there's not really many of them. Harshal Patel, maybe not really. That's why I think I go for. That's why I think I go for Shardul Thakur.
Yeah. Any advance from Max or Ross on Punjab Kings? The most objectively interesting team in the IPL, I reckon. But
Always good fun.
yeah, there's just like always something happening when it comes to Punjab. They're a story generator. They're the podcaster's dream team, basically, aren't they? It's
but the person I don't think they particularly need, but I think they'll probably end up bidding for is Harry Brook. I think they are. I think they will do something like that. Yeah, because I just saw one over the fitness of Liam Livingstone and Johnny Bairstow. They might want to have someone who they think is explosive, and I think with the contacts they have with Sam Curran, etc., I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up there.
Yeah, they're sort of becoming the de facto England team, aren't they? Okay.
Taking over from Rajasthan Royals.
Yeah.
It's a shame, like, they pick now to invest in the England team, isn't it? It's
buy the dip.
Buy the dip.
Here comes Tress
right. Rajasthan Royals are the last team, and then we've got Millionaire Maker. So let's try and wrap this up in 10 minutes if we can.
Yeah, these are nice and easy, really. They released Jason Holder, Joe Root, Obed McCoy, and Murugan Ashwin are kind of the names to note. And they traded in Avish Khan for Devdutt Padakal, which on our previous show with Dan, we thought actually was pretty much a very good win-win-win trade all round. For the purse, they've got 14.5 crore with 8 slots to fill, 3 of those being overseas. They need a middle order supremo to go with Hetmeyer, preferably one that can bowl. I think it was a great trade picking up Avish Khan. That means that they can potentially be a little bit more flexible in their auction strategy. Before, it was very obvious of what they were going for. Here, they could look to extend their batting lineup a little bit more and have a bit more of a tail. We know that Ravichandran Ashwin's been used at number 3, which is a bit of a admission that your team's not quite balanced enough. But they've already been through Daryl Mitchell, Holder, Neesham, Root as those people. So they're going to need to do something a little bit different. Domestic players, I think they're going to be one of the teams in for Shahrukh Khan, but I think they'll get outpriced for him. I do think that someone like Holder will be probably bid on again. Daniel Sams will be in there. Dwayne Pretorius BIG is what I've got down here as well after his CSK move. And then if they wanted to, they could potentially solve their problem by moving Sanju Samson down to 4, Parag to 5, Hetmeyer to 6, and bring in someone like Rachin Ravindra, which wouldn't be surprising, if I'm perfectly honest, based upon how some of their previous stuff has gone. But I'm not sure that'd be the right move for them. But again, they've got some really good players in this lineup. Their 11s is a decent 11. That one gap, which I think they can go hell for leather for. And they seem to have all of the domestic bowling talent. It seems like almost like that one step down from like the elite Indian players. Surely there must be a trade to be done with another team that they could be looking to take advantage of to fill something in that space. But we know that trades are few and far between in the IPL teams.
Dan, your thoughts on Rajasthan Royals?
Yeah, they've got, as Ross said, a lot of their domestic paces, which I think they'd be nuts if they did trade because it's just strengthening opposition teams. They've released a couple of, in their eyes at least, middle order batters, Joe Root and Devdutt Padakal, who's not a middle order batter at all, but they were using him in that role. So it makes sense that they're going to look to try and reinforce that area. I've got them targeting players like a Travis Head, or maybe even bringing Daryl Mitchell back to the franchise after letting him go at some point before. They also really, and this is because I don't think they're far away at all, actually, with their squad and can compete really well. They have to have a pace bowling all-rounder in that Holder role, who Holder played in the role that he played last year, because otherwise they're going to really lack balance and their tail is going to be absurdly long, and there's not many options for them in that area. So it'll be really interesting to see how they shape up.
Right, Max, are we ready for Millionaire Maker? Over to you.
Yeah, let's do it very quickly and very simple. All we need is one name each for who is gonna. I mean, you can look at it 2 ways if you want. either who you think is going to go for the most, or who is going to be the undeserving recipient of 10 crore in the IPL. Who's going to get the big bucks that maybe, perhaps they shouldn't. And who wants to start? Should we put Dan on the spot first? Because
let's do Dan first. Then he'll name a load of players,
and we'll just pick ones that he hasn't said.
I'll do that right now. So as I said, I think the first couple of brackets are really going to be where we're going to understand the strategy of teams in the auction and where maybe some smart teams might not want to get hugely involved, so they can dictate terms later on. First one, I think in set one, Travis Head, I think he'll go for big money. There's one guarantee in the IPL auction, and that is if you play well against India, you pick up a lot of money. And Travis Head, I think they'll be seduced by his sort of occasional spin bowling as well. I think a lot of teams will go for him, even though I don't think there's that many who really do need an overseas batter. The other ones who I think set two, Pat Cummins was definitely going to be in demand. I think Hasaranga should be, but maybe his market value has dropped off a little bit from the 2022 mega auction. And I can see the domestic duo of Harshal Patel and Shardul Thakur also being of interest. The player I'm going to go for as my millionaire maker, though, is the Lord, Shardul Thakur. Not just because, it's not necessarily as a endorsement of his quality. I just think that his skill set is so rare in the market that so many teams are going to be keen on him.
Nice. Sounds good. Jack, do you want to go next?
No, Ross is going to go next.
Mitchell Stark.
Mitchell Stark.
Yep. And I just think that people are going to be absolutely seduced by it. It's although Dan kind of highlights that his workload might well be managed, it's kind of 4 months out. I think there is a little bit here around kind of one season and one season only for Stark, and he offers enough with the bat and offers the left arm 90 mile an hour in swinging Yorkers. So I think there is a little bit here where one or two teams could really do with a player like that, and there's going to be a bidding war for him.
The other thing about Stark's sort of a bowler who had the skill set that was really in demand in the last generation, if that makes sense. And a lot of the people calling the shots are guys who are from that last generation. They're just going to see big guy, bowls fast, Yorkers, left arm, can hit some sixes. And
I mean, that's still quite a useful skill set to have now.
It is, but like it's probably, I think it'd be fair to say that Stark isn't a real top shelf T20 bowler based on what we've seen over the last few years. I mean, he's not played that much. I think it'd be a bit of a risk to
9 at best.
Pardon, Dan?
9 at best with the bat. 9 at best with the bat. Number 9. He's definitely not.
I mean, Ross, I think your angle's pretty good. I mean, I think most money. I think Travis Head is a really good shout. Someone who I think will go for a lot, and it might actually be deserved, Gerald Kirtsey. I think it might depend where in the pot he is drawn, but there's a lot of buzz around him. He bowled really well in India, and like Dan, like you were saying, if you want to make loads of money in the IPL auction, the best thing to do is play well against India. Second best is to play well in India, and he did. He was really good. He's got age on his side. He's got a little bit of batting on his side, so I can see Kirtsey going for a lot of loot. Max, go on, back to you.
Yeah, no, I definitely had Kirtsey penned as someone who could be pretty tasty prospect, but I'm going to have to go for Harshal Patel because I mean, it's not that long ago since he took bucket loads of wickets in the IPL, and there's going to be like 5 teams who are going to go in for him, and that's what bidding wars are all about, right?
The tactical bidding
and
war
also
on him
it's so
is going to be
RCB.
brilliant.
It's so RCB to let him go, thinking they can get him back cheaper and have him go for like 15, 16 crore. It would be hilarious. So I'm going Harshal Patel. It wouldn't necessarily be undeserved, but I think it's going to be a lot of money.
Yeah.
Final question to finish us off. Rachim Ravindra, what price, Ross?
I reckon he's going to go for 4.5 crore.
Max?
I was going to say 4. So yeah, ballpark.
Okay. Dan?
I was going to say 4 too. So
I'm going to go 7.
Oh. Where's he going?
That'll be. I don't know, but I can just
KKR.
I think
you don't need another spinner. They don't need another one.
Nope, that's where he's going.
I think his story is attractive to teams.
Mate, if he goes to RCB, that would be one of the dumbest pickups, but it'll be very RCB.
That's where he wants to go, isn't it?
Yeah, but I can see him. I can actually see him at the Rajasthan Royals.
Yeah, right. Look, we're going to wrap up there, Dan.
More than quickly. Harry Brook.
Oh, I reckon he'll be more popular than people realise. I reckon he's going to go in at 6. I reckon he'll go
6.
I reckon he'll go
No.
Base price.
I'm going to go.
I reckon Punjab Kings 6 crore will be.
I think
Harry Brook.
Unsold, then picked up on the accelerated auction bit at the end, and I think there'll be 2 teams with a little bit of money left, and it will be, I bid 2, I bid 2.25, I bid 2.5, and it'll be 2.5. That's my guess.
Yeah,
I've got 3 to 4, 3.5 seems fair, and one more before we go. So on another list, Steve Smith.
Not unsold. Unsold. There's no way Steve Smith is going. I'll even Dan, I'll even do a bet with you. I'll even do a bet with the.
Oh, that's down cricket. Sorry,
Steve Smith is going.
That makes
Steve
sense.
Smith is going to CSK for 3 crore.
I don't know where Steve Smith is going, but Steve Smith is going to go.
No.
There's a recency biasing in
You're
here
all-
as well. He
you're
got
all
60
wrong.
the other night. He got 60 or 40 balls. He's back, baby. And he could bowl leg spin. Like, that's.
I tell you what, if he goes to Gujarat and it's him and Kane Williamson in the same lineup.
Right, that's it. We're going to have to wrap up there. Thanks very much for listening or watching. As a reminder, we're at the Cricket Pod on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and elsewhere. If you like our content, why don't you sign up to Patreon? Patreon.com/the Cricket Pod is where you need to go there. Dan, pleasure having you on the show once more. Look forward to reacting to all of this next Tuesday when we, it's good, like real Christmas and cricket nerd Christmas all in the same week. It's going to be a good one. Cheerio, everyone. Goodbye.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
See ya.